Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to reference a blog post written by a woman named Joy. Joy recounts an event that happened to her and her husband and their church in the past. In it, she and her husband were summoned to their pastor, and it very much gave me the vibe that they were being summoned to their pastor much the way that a child is summoned to go see their principal. The dynamic there is very much of authoritarian power structure that I think is toxic when it comes to spiritual connection to the divine. I'll get to that later. And she sits down in this office, and it's set up so that she and her husband are physically separated by a space. So they can't hold hands. There is less of a concept of being able to support each other. And the pastor opens up a manila folder. In the middle of the manila folder is her name. So the pastor's keeping a file on her. Now, I could see some justification for keeping a file for some legitimate reasons. For example, financial aid, family sicknesses, events that take place within the church or are related to the church. Okay, so I'm not saying that having a file on a member of the congregation is completely inappropriate, but I think it also should be an opt-in feature. If the pastor says, I would like to keep some data on you here at the church, you can say, yes, you may. And if you say no, then the church can't keep data on you at that. It might affect your ability to get resources from the church, but it still should be your option. If the pastor himself wants to keep personal records on people at his home, I guess he can, and that would be mildly creepy, which leads into the next part of this, where she notices that someone has printed out a Facebook page, her Facebook page, printed on paper. And he talks to her and says that it's been coming to my attention that you are posting things that deal with the equitable treatment of men and women in the world. That people should be treated equally regardless of their sex or gender. And that his church, the church that the pastor runs, is a church that espouses the concept that women must serve men. Okay, here's where it gets really creepy. This pastor is keeping personal data on someone about activities that they engage in outside your organization that have nothing to do with you. That's creepy. That falls into this category of stalking to me. And that is when both people should have gotten up and walked out and never returned. But it gets worse. His church is espousing the concept that people should be treated differently based on their sex and gender, and I can only assume even worse treatment if you are not a straight person, your sexual orientation. Now, if you are a member of a religious organization that does not have complete and utter equality, regardless of sex, gender, orientation, ethnicity, or any other metric, leave. You are not helping yourself or anyone else. You are helping to fuel an organization which is espousing discrimination and bigotry. And the donations you make to that organization are helping to spread that sickness. Now she goes on to speak about breaking free of this concept, that this pastor attempts to shame her into behaving the way he thinks she should. And that is an abominable act. And it should be something that we all denigrate. We should all look down upon a person that does that. We should all point at them and say, you are working evil in the name of a deity. And make sure that they take that to heart. Oh, if they have one. Another thing that's interesting is this pastor doesn't seem to understand how the internet works. You can't put the internet into a manila folder and file it away into a cabinet so that it is now safely and completely locked from the view of your congregation. The internet is free, as is information, and you can't control that. And that is a deeply dangerous concept to authoritarian religious figures, which I am so grateful for. Because as I have said in the past, I am completely opposed to organized religion. Covens, which only have 13 members, are kind of big for me as far as I'm concerned when it comes to organized religion. I can kind of tolerate the Covens, the Congregationalists to a certain extent, and the Universal Unitarians because I have yet to see them work evil. But you know, I still keep an eye on them. The only thing you need to do for a spiritual connection with the universe is yourself and your gods. That's it. You need no churches, no holy texts, no priests. Do not cede your spiritual power to someone else. Do not give your spiritual power to an authoritarian figure who will then wield it in their preference over yours. The only person that should control your spiritual energy, your spiritual connection to the universe, is you. So this is a fine example to me of why we should just ignore churches. We don't have to outlaw them. We should tax them. They should not in any way, shape, or form be tax exempt, and unless they can prove they are doing useful work to the public in the form of donations, charitable efforts, actual functioning efforts that help people, and those efforts should be 100% free of discrimination and bigotry. And if they aren't, they should not be tax exempt. But that holds true for any organization that wants to do charitable work. It doesn't just hold for churches. And churches, just by and large being churches, should not be tax exempt. Particularly when they do evil in the world, like this story. Because that's what this story is about to me. It's about shame, it's about guilt, it's about control. It's about the patriarchy sticking its hand right down your throat and choking you. So if you encounter pastors like this in your life, religious leaders of any stripe, tell them you disagree with them. Tell them that the only people that should be in charge of my spiritual connection to the universe is me. Don't give that power to someone else. It's yours. You earned it. You do the work to get that connection. You do the work to keep that connection alive and vibrant. To make sure that you know and feel the world around you on that level. You were born a theist. You can live as a theist. You will die as a theist. And you don't need anyone else telling you how to do that.